Today's incident will awaken your soul. Therefore, we request you to watch this incident till the very end. The story begins on a cold morning. The rays of the sun had not yet properly touched the earth. The state's most strict female police officer, Celeste Morgan, receives a serious report. She is informed that in Millwood Township, a young man has murdered his own mother. As soon as Celeste hears this on the radio, she gets into her cruiser and heads towards the scene. It is her first year in police service, but through her courage and decision-making skills, she has earned the respect of the entire Lexington County Sheriff Department. She is known as fearless, just, and strictly disciplined towards the rules. When she reaches the township, the scene is horrifying. A middle-aged woman lies on the ground with deep injuries on her body. Standing next to her is a young man, around 21 to 22 years old, who is still holding a heavy wooden stick in his hand. Celeste, in a firm voice, says, "Put the stick down and quietly come with us." The young man, without any protest, drops the stick to the ground and stands silently with his head lowered. Celeste handcuffs him and takes him to the station. The young man's name is Darius Boone. There is no fear or remorse in his eyes, as if what was meant to happen had already happened. At the station, he is kept in lockup for several hours. Celeste waits for the forensic report and confirmation of the local investigation. Darius is not silent. He does not give any justification in his favor, nor does he ask any questions. After some time, an order comes that the accused must be presented in court. In court, after observing the preliminary evidence, the judge declares Darius guilty and sentences him to death. However, under South Carolina law, before the date of execution, a period of 2 months is given. This time is allotted for appeal and last wish procedures. Whether you are Christian or Muslim, please watch the video till the very end without skipping. Friends, before starting the video, let us say a short prayer. O Lord, protect us from sins and grant us peace. Everyone write Amen in the comments and give a like to this video. For those who haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel right now. The like target of this video is 10,000, so please give a like to this video. So let's begin. Darius is brought back to the same station where Celeste is posted. He is kept in a separate cell where there is no CCTV, just a small window from which a little light comes in. A few days later, a woman comes to the station crying and says that someone has broken into her house and stolen all her savings. Celeste immediately sends her team and tells them to thoroughly search the house. She herself stays at the station because it is not possible to leave Darius alone. A while later, when she goes to Darius, she sees he is staring out the window with a fixed gaze. Celeste slowly asks, "Did this verdict not cause you any pain? Your mother is no longer in this world, and you didn't even mention any reason for her murder." Darius smiles faintly and looks at her. There is no hatred on his face, no mockery. Rather, there is a strange calmness. Celeste composes herself and ends the conversation right there. Just then, she receives a phone call. The theft complaint was false, and the money had actually been withdrawn by the woman herself through her son. The matter is resolved, and Celeste returns to Darius. This time, she brings him a cup of tea. Handing the cup to him, she says, "You have 2 months. If you have any last wish, you can tell us. According to government rules, a prisoner's last wish is fulfilled before execution." Darius picks up the cup, takes a deep breath and says, "My last wish is that as long as I live, every night I want to spend time with a virgin girl." Celeste's face becomes stern for a moment. She could have immediately scolded him if she wanted to, but she restrains herself. "This is not a normal wish. We cannot forcibly send any girl to you." Darius smiles faintly again and says, "Then why not you? You are also unmarried, and the law says the last wish must be fulfilled." A heat spreads within Celeste, but she does not express her anger, nor does she give him any reply. She slowly says, "I will think about it," and walks away from there. That night, Celeste cannot sleep peacefully. Her mind is filled with many questions and doubts. Can a person's last wish go beyond moral limits? Does she have to strike a balance between her duty and humanity? The night gets deeper, When Darius's faint smile keeps flashing in front of her eyes again and again, the story has now reached a point where every decision could lead to a new path. Friends, welcome to our channel. Before continuing with the rest of the video, we have a request for you. No matter where you are watching our videos from, please take a moment to write your name and your location in the comments below. Reading your comments makes us very happy. And please watch this video till the very end because there's a very big lesson in it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we are going to bring many more amazing stories in the future. Returning to the story, the next morning, Officer Celeste Morgan is sitting at her desk thinking. She hasn't been able to sleep the entire night. Darius Boone's words keep circling in her mind. Why not you? This line spins in her head again and again. On one side is her inner humanity, which says that perhaps Darius really is alone and helpless. And on the other side is her duty, which stops her from fulfilling his wish. She does not inform any of her seniors about this matter. But she has decided that she will get to the bottom of this incident. In the following days, Celeste speaks to Darius several times. He always twists his words, but each time he says something wise. Sometimes he speaks about his mother, sometimes about the township people, and at times he says he accepts this punishment. One night, Celeste is alone at the Lexington County Sheriff Department. The other police officers have gone out for a major operation. The sound of the rain can be heard, and the flashes of lightning break the silence over the station courtyard. Celeste goes near Darius's cell. She feels that perhaps he will say something new today. She stands silently for a moment, staring at him. He is lying down with his eyes closed, but his face looks calm. "Do you remember your mother?" Celeste slowly asks. Darius, without opening his eyes, says, "Every day, but now nothing matters." "Did you really?" Celeste leaves the sentence unfinished. Darius opens his eyes, looks at her and says, "No, but even if I say it, what's the point? No one will listen. Everyone has already assumed that I am guilty." His voice carries no emotion or justification. Rather, there is just a tired layer of reality. Celeste's eyes fill with tears. She asks herself, have I treated this case as just an ordinary case? Have I become a part of that crowd that simply assumes a name to be guilty? But now there is little time left. If Darius's words are true, then it has to be proven. The next day, Celeste begins searching through the court documents. She re-examines the Millwood Township forensic report, Lorraine Boone's call log, and the medical reports, all the evidence. Some unclear clues catch her eye. Some things are not adding up. The last call from Lorraine's phone was made to an influential person in the township who had previously been caught in illegal land-grabbing cases. Celeste begins a secret investigation against that person. Meanwhile, Darius is still holding on to his last wish. When she comes to him again and asks, "Don't you want anything else?" he replies, "No, because I have no more expectations from life, but I have fallen in love with you. I have never seen a woman as honest and fearless as you." Celeste realizes that inside Darius, there still remains an innocent boy who has been hardened by circumstances. One night, when everything around is silent, Celeste crosses her boundaries, takes off her uniform, wears a plain dress and goes to Darius. There is no lust in her eyes. Rather, there is trust. She sits beside Darius, listens to his words, and sees him as a human being. There is no force, no compulsion, only the silence between two people and some incomplete emotions. In the morning, for the first time, light is seen in Darius's eyes. He says, "If you believe in my story, then give me a chance to prove my innocence." Celeste holds his hand and says, "Now this is my fight." Celeste now has two paths in front of her: to ignore the statement of an accused like everyone else and let him face the death penalty for a crime he perhaps didn't commit, or to bring out the truth with all her strength and honesty, even if for that she has to fight against her own system. Information from the township is slowly coming to light from the secret investigation Celeste Morgan has started. It is found that Lorraine Boone had filed a complaint against the influential villager, Vernon Strickland, for grabbing government land. That evening, Vernon Strickland had been seen near Lorraine's house. This phone call had seemed suspicious to Celeste. Celeste takes this case personally. She informs the DSP that she wants to conduct a final investigation before the execution. At first, she is mocked, but when she files a strong case and presents it before her senior authorities, she is given 15 days. If within that time she can prove Darius Boone's innocence, then the case will be reopened. During this time, Darius becomes somewhat hopeful, but he remains silent. One day he tells Celeste, "Even if you can't do it, thank you. Because of you, I was able to feel like a human for a few days." Celeste replies, "Your truth is my test. I will not give up." Celeste goes to Millwood Township and quietly speaks to many people. Many witnesses are afraid, but an old lady, a neighbor of Lorraine Boone, finally speaks the truth. Her name is Ms. Henrietta Mills. She reveals that Vernon Strickland's men had entered the house at night and murdered Lorraine. Darius had returned home and chased away the attackers with a stick. But by then, his mother had already lost her life. She had not said this earlier because Vernon's men had threatened her. Celeste records her statement, cross-checks it with the medical report, and collects the mobile location records. All the evidence shows that Darius is innocent. Celeste applies to the court for reinvestigation. A hearing is held. The witnesses are called, the evidence is presented, and Vernon Strickland is arrested. The case is discussed in national media. Finally, the Lexington County Circuit Court overturns the previous verdict, and Darius is released. When Darius comes out of court, he quietly approaches Celeste and says, "You gave me back my life." Celeste replies with a smile, "The fight for justice doesn't happen only in court. It also happens between the mind and the conscience." A few months later, they are often seen together. Celeste makes no marriage announcement, and Darius makes no statement. But those who see them find respect and peace in their eyes for each other. The story of a prisoner and an officer, which had started from a strange desire, has now taken the shape of a relationship built on trust, struggle, and honesty. The story does not end here. It only holds a mirror to a society where not every accused may be guilty. Sometimes the path to justice must pass through human emotions as well. Friends, let's now hear another story. In the city of Baghdad lived a handsome young man whose beauty was admired by all. This boy's father had died in his childhood. The mosque's mullah betrayed him. When he grew up, he began to earn his livelihood. A small parrot was also kept at his house. The young man used to recite the Holy Quran in his house, and the parrot used to come close. Gradually, the parrot memorized the verses of the Quran and recited them. It spoke little by little. The all-fearing young man taught that parrot to always speak the truth. Allah loves those who speak the truth. Near his house was a prostitute's residence. That prostitute was very beautiful. One day, the prostitute's uncle told her, "The entire village is mad about your beauty, but there's one young man who has never looked at you. He is a very good noble person. He comes straight home from the mosque and goes to the mosque straight from home." That prostitute began to say, "How is this possible? Even noble men forget their honor and sin after seeing my beauty, and this great scholar doesn't even look at me." Her maid said, "If you want, try." The prostitute responded, "All right." Now that prostitute changed her appearance, dressed like a noblewoman, and stood in front of the house door so that whenever the boy came, she could call him and lure him with some excuse. However, whenever the boy came to pray, he never looked up at her. He lowered his eyes, went to the mosque, and returned home with lowered eyes. Days passed like this, but the boy never looked up at the prostitute. One day, the prostitute intentionally fell to the ground. When the young man saw the woman lying on the ground, he asked everyone, "Who is this woman?" Everyone there said, "We do not know this woman," because the prostitute had changed her disguise. The people standing there said, "She seems to be a poor girl from a needy family." The young man said, "Pick her up and take her to my home." They picked up the girl and took her to his house. The woman began to think, "My first goal is achieved. Now how can I easily lure the servant of Allah? In the silence of the night, it would be even easier to seduce him." The boy went to the mosque for the Aisha prayer. The woman was waiting for him. When he returned, she asked him, "How are you?" The prostitute pretended to be weak and began to show her seductive beauty through her eyes. She threw various arrows of temptation, but she failed to trap this Allah-fearing young man. Exhausted, she lay down thinking, "An old man would have followed me. I don't know what kind of soil he is made from. He does not understand my gestures." The Allah-fearing young man asked her, "Who do you have in this world? Where are your parents? Where is your home?" She said, "I have no one in this entire world." As she said this, she began to cry. When the Allah-fearing young man heard this, he became very sad and said, "You are an unknown woman. It is not appropriate for you to stay with me." When the poor woman heard this, she began asking, "Where will I go?" The young man replied, "You can stay here with me tonight, but in the morning you must leave." Hearing this, she became confused, wondering how she could lead him to sin. Yet she was tired and had failed in every way. In the morning, the Allah-fearing young man consulted Mullah Sahib, saying, "There is a poor woman staying in my house. I am very worried. What should I do?" Mullah Sahib said, "If she truly has no one in this world, then you should marry her. After all, one day or another you will have to marry." The young man returned and told the woman, "Mullah Sahib has said that I should marry you." Hearing this, she became frightened and began to think, "I don't want to marry. I want to have an unlawful relationship with him. I never wanted to be his wife." That foolish woman said to the young man, "Give me time to think. Tonight I will tell you in the morning." She spent the whole night thinking, "What should I do?" Then the woman decided, "Let me lie. After all, I will get this young man, and after I accomplish my goal, I will escape from his house." In the morning, she told the young man, "I am ready to marry you." Hearing this, the young man became very happy. "Allah has given me the opportunity to help a helpless person, and in this way, a woman's life will also be saved." He called Mullah Sahib and completed the marriage. Everyone was very happy at the young man's wedding. Completed the marriage. The young man was a worshipper of Allah. Days passed when the woman's heart became full with the love of Allah. She began to say, "Now I should leave from here. How can I stay here? Now I want to return to my world." But she is married to that boy. That poor woman sent a message to her maid, "I want to leave from here. Make some arrangements." The maid came to her and said, "Now you have become his wife. How will you go from here? Why did you do this?" The woman said, "I was so mad about his beauty that I wanted to humiliate him in any way because that boy wouldn't even look at me. So what else could I do? I had to marry him forcefully. But now I don't like this. I want to leave from here." The maid told her, "Then do this and give him a divorce." The woman began to say, "But now I don't like this. I want to leave from here. I won't be able to divorce him because he is a very good man, and he will never divorce me." That vile woman began to say, "I am not such a noble person. Let me kill him instead." She began to remember her life in the brothel, where every day rich men would come and shower thousands of dinars on her. "I don't want to stay with him." She told the servants, "Bring poison for me so that I can kill him." The servant, hearing this, started to make arrangements for the poison. The servant brought the poison for her, and when the young man came home at night, that vile woman, pretending sweetly, came in front of him and said, "I will now bring food for you." When she went to bring the food, she mixed poison into it. The parrot that was always present in the house was watching everything. It began to scream, "Save me! Save me!" The Allah-fearing young man came to him and asked, "Why are you screaming so much today?" Then the parrot said, "Save me, save me." Hearing this, he became very surprised. He ate the food, and after eating the food, he said to his wife, "I am going to sleep. I have to wake up for tahajjud." When it was midnight, he started feeling sick. He began to tell his wife, "My stomach is hurting a lot. It feels like someone is stabbing my stomach with a knife." The woman said, "I think you must have eaten something bad." The Allah-fearing young man said, "My time has come near. Do this, bring Mullah Sahib." Then her husband died in front of her in pain. The poor woman did not feel any mercy for him. The servant of Allah recited the Kalima Shahadat as he died. and his soul departed. The parrot screamed, "Save me! Save me!" The woman said to the parrot, "Be quiet, or I will kill you too." She sent a message to her maid to come quickly. Her maid came, and together they dug a hole in the garden of the house and buried him there. She felt very happy inside, thinking, "I have saved my life from this man. Now I am free." After that, the prostitute woman went back to her old place and started committing adultery again. The Almighty Allah had given her a life. If she wanted, she could have repented for her sins and become a righteous and modest woman like her husband. If she wanted, she could have led her remaining life properly. But she destroyed her world with her own hands. She poisoned and killed her husband. She was a prostitute before, but now she had also become a murderer. When dawn broke, Mullah Sahib offered his prayers and saw that his student had not come to pray for many days. He became very upset and came to his house and knocked on the door, but no one opened. Mullah Sahib thought that he must be sleeping, but he also thought his student could never miss prayer. When it was time for the Zuhr prayer, Mullah Sahib saw that his student had still not come. He sent someone, but they also said he is not opening the door. This continued until evening. After Isha, Mullah Sahib thought that he should go himself. Mullah Sahib went and knocked on the door, but no one came. However, from inside, the parrot started to scream, "Save me! Save me!" Mullah Sahib understood that something had happened. He gathered the whole neighborhood and broke down the door. When he broke the door, he entered inside and saw that the house was empty except for the parrot. There was no one else in the house, and everyone thought the husband and wife had gone out somewhere. When the time for Tahajjud came, Mullah Sahib started feeling uneasy. He told his wife, "I feel like my student is in trouble. He has fallen into some kind of problem." His wife said, "No, he has just gotten married. Perhaps the husband and wife have gone out somewhere." Mullah Sahib said, "He cannot go without informing me." His wife said, "Don't be sad, and go to sleep." Mullah Sahib went to his bed and fell asleep. But he saw in his dream that his student was crying and that there was blood on his body. Mullah Sahib woke up and told this dream to his wife. She said, "You are thinking too much. That is why you are seeing such dreams." Then on the second night, Mullah Sahib saw the same dream again. And on the third night as well he saw the same dream that his student was soaked in blood, wearing the same clothes and crying. Mullah Sahib woke up, performed ablution, and started praying. As Mullah Sahib was reciting verses from the Quran, gradually the hidden secrets began to unfold, and he was instructed to go inside the house. Now Mullah Sahib became very worried, thinking, "Why am I receiving signs about this house?" Mullah Sahib, along with some people from the neighborhood, went to the house of that Allah-fearing young man. Upon their arrival, the parrot again started screaming. When they dug up the ground, they were in agony from the sight. He could never have imagined that he would see his beloved student in this condition. Mullah Sahib started to think, "Who is this oppressor who has killed him and buried him like this? But look at the manifestation of Allah. His body was such as if he had just been buried. Light was shining from his face." Seeing him, Mullah Sahib sat on the ground holding his head and started crying. Mullah Sahib said his wife is not there, so he first offered the funeral prayer for his student and made arrangements for his burial. Everyone was worried about who had killed this young man. Mullah Sahib came home and started crying, remembering his student. The parrot present there listened silently to the painful voice of Mullah Sahib. It seemed the parrot would never be able to speak again in its life, but Allah gave the parrot the ability to speak. It said, "That woman was a prostitute. She was an oppressor. She wanted to commit adultery with him. That woman changed her appearance and came here. She deceived everyone and married a servant of Allah. When her heart became full, she poisoned him and killed him. Now she has gone again to the brothel to commit adultery and wickedness." After saying this, the parrot became silent. Mullah Sahib took him and brought him to his house. Then Mullah Sahib, along with a few people, went to that prostitute woman's brothel. Mullah Sahib shouted in anger as if he would kill the woman. He asked her to come outside. Mullah Sahib did not want to go inside. Hearing the voice of Mullah Sahib, The servant of that prostitute woman came out crying, and that woman said, "You are the teacher of that good young man." Mullah Sahib said, "Yes, I am his teacher and his father too." The maid said, "She has received the punishment for her deeds." That night, after she killed her husband and came to the brothel, she was very happy and was preparing to commit wickedness. But suddenly her body started to change. As soon as we saw it, her body transformed into the shape of a monkey. We have locked her in a room because we are afraid to look at her face. So friends, this was today's video. If you liked the video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have any thoughts about the video, please let us know in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Allah Hafiz.